Greetings of the day. Myself Chitra Sharma, Assistant Professor with AISSMS CHMCT. Uh, Today we will be seeing the subject of hotel law, and the topic which I will be covering with this presentation is Introduction to Hospitality Law. What is law? What is hotel law? How hospitality and law industry are interconnected? Like why law is governing everything? There are certain law which is applicable to everyone, which comes under the Indian Constitution and which is applicable to even to the hospitality industry. What objectives we are going to see through this presentation is what is the importance of the hospitality law, how the hotel law evolution happened with the emphasis to hotel, how the implementation of laws are executed by the executives and the judiciary, and we will see how a legal case journey is through the judicial system. What is the importance of hospitality law? Students who are basically very keen in making their careers in hotels, they should understand and be familiarized with certain hotels law, which covers wide range of legal issues ranging from hotel business, contracts, the front office operation, the labor laws, duties of hotel law towards the guest, the hotel liabilities, the food and beverage operations, and the public health and safety. As a employee also, they should be knowing the basic law which will be governing, because anytime any implications happens on the hotel, automatically the staff also gets involved. Hotel law also enables the issue before the legal difficulties arises, as it is very costly to fight a legal case in the courts, and it consumes lot of time for the judicial process. It takes 2 years and years for the judgment to come. Common crimes against the hotels involved in fraudulent payments by guests through credit card, checks, or fake currency, and or embezzlement by the employees, theft of the company property by the employees, theft by the guests and others also. We should be knowing what are the law and the act will be playing the part here. How does the evolution of law happen with the hospitality industry? The meaning of the term hospitality, as it is key to the hotel success, has basically originated from the Latin word hopes, which means a host. The history of hotel laws is a sordid one. Innkeeper were regarded as a person of ill repute who would stoop to any level to steal from the guest. Inns in England were regulated under the common law, which is defined them as a public place, directing the innkeepers to offer room to people seeking accommodation if available at a reasonable price. England was the first country to recognize hoteliering as a business venture, promulgating the innkeeper liability in 1863. In some countries, there are laws defining the limits of the liability towards guests. Like if you see Hotel Properties Act of 1956, which is converted the Innkeepers Liability Act of 1863. That means 1863 Act of the Innkeepers has been improvised, and more modification has been done, and more systematically it has been brought, and which was known as Hotel Properties Act of 1956. Innkeeper Liability Act of 1902, which is Australia Act, the Hotel and Restaurant Act, CAP 494, and of 1972, Kenya. The FHRA and the IATO has put a self-regulatory agreement on the code of practice, which came in enforced in 2005, to ensure that the guests reserved by the association at the various members hotels are not discriminated or accorded equal rights to reservation, no-shows, turn away, and regards to payment. Other than the above, the constitution law laid by the government has to be kept in the mind. Now let us see what is the role of executive and judiciary and how they actually operate. Basically, if we see the judiciary and executive, it is basically divided only into three major parts. Like if we see the separation of powers, first is divided into executive branch, next into legislative branch, and the judiciary branch. And we need to know which branch actually has how many powers and how the executive works. If you combine all these things, this is basically a judiciary. Legislative, what is a legislative? If you see in England and India, both work on a basically on a more on a very similar terms. India has adopted around 75% of their judiciary system according to UK. If you see, India and England both have a House of Commons. In India we call it as Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. In England it is called as House of Commons and House of Lords. And this both the houses are responsible for passing any statutory law. Unless until both the houses passes any law, the law can't be enforced and it can't be uniformly applied to the country. The legislative process followed by England and India are similar, and a bill can be introduced in either of houses of the parliament. What is the executive? The executive is responsible for the enforcement of law and order, day-to-day administration of the government. The President of India, who is supposed to be the first person of country, is the head of the executive branch. As it is still in UK, it is the king or the queen who are the head of the country. Judiciary, the judiciary both in India and England enjoy appellate, especially of a court concerned with or dealing with application for decision or original and adversary jurisdiction. One of the duties of the Supreme Court is judicial review of law enacted by the Parliament. Once the law is passed by both the houses, like in India it is Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, then it is the duty of the Supreme Court to ensure that it is passed over all over the country in the same way and it is enforced to every citizen of the country. Let it be rich or poor, anybody, the law is same under the Constitution of India. The judiciary oversees the implementation of the law by the executive, ensuring that it is carried out as per the intention of the legislature. And if the executives fail the discharge of its function, the courts are competent to give direction to the executive, which can lead to a legal case. Let us see what is a journey of legal case through the judicial system. As we know, in India, in Indian judicial system, which has a unified structure with Supreme Court being the apex court, which is situated in the Indian capital, New Delhi, and other states have High Court as the highest court, and they have a jurisdiction of lower court or district court located at each administrative district. Some of the important tribunals are the Company Law Board, Monopolistic and Restrictive Trade Practices Commission, Securities Appellate Tribunal, Consumer Protection Forum, Board of Industrial and Financial Reconstruction, Custom and Excise Control Tribunal, Income Tax Tribunal, Debt Recovery Tribunal. All these tribunals come at the administrative level. Supreme Court is at the apex court, which is situated in the country's capital, which is being the highest court, and High Court is there at every state, mostly in the capital, but certain states have two high courts. Like for example, in Maharashtra, we have two high court. One high court is in Mumbai and one high court is in Nagpur. In a legal proceeding, there are minimum two parties which whom we call as litigants. The litigants are the two people. For fighting any case, we need two parties to fight a case. A plaintiff or a complainant is a person who raises an allegation against the other party by suing in the court of law. A defendant is a person against who allegations have been made and sued. This let us see the what is the trial procedure. How the trial procedure basically starts for a smaller case, but in certain cases the trial procedure may be different. It depends solely on the intensity of the case. The trial procedure normally takes place as in a different way, and it can differ from case to case and through the intensity of the case. First, if you see the trial procedure, opening statement is made by plaintiff who is filing a case. Then for that statement, the opening statement is defined by the defendant against whom the case is there. Next procedure is the presentation of the case by the plaintiff. Then rebuttal of the plaintiff statement by the defendant. Rebuttal means denying what accusation the plaintiff has made on the defendant. Then the closing of argument and summation of the case happens. Deliberation by the judge is done. Deliberation means the judge cross questions and takes out the evidence and all those things. And the last is the pronouncement of the judgment by the judge. In what basically we have learned in this chapter, we will see in the conclusion is, we have seen what is a law, how it governs and its effect. We have traced the evolution of the natural and customary law, how it got evolved with the innkeeper's law, and how the innkeeper's law has been converted. We have seen how the judiciary works and how the implementation of the law and executive is uniform. We have seen the trial procedure, how we have also summarized the final decision, how the judge gives. We have gone through how the Supreme Court is being the apex court, followed by the High Court and other tribunals of the administrative level. In this chapter, we have only this much. This was the introduction to the hospitality law. In the next chapter, we will be going through the introduction of the Indian Contract Act 1872. Please note, there is a quiz link given in the description box. Please attend the quiz and get back to me. If you have any doubts, you can get back to me. My email ID I have shared in the first slide. Thank you. These are the references, and have a great learning.